Go to Atlanta now, speak with Charles Kuck. He's the managing partner with Cook Immigration Partners LLC. Welcome to Biz Asia America. As you heard there, Frank said perhaps one of the solutions is that if they can't make it through Mexico, that would alleviate the problem on the U.S. side of the border. Do you think that's a realistic solution?
It's certainly part of the solution. It's not the whole solution, but it's part of the solution. Part of the problem with all these migrants coming through Mexico in the last year is about a year and a half ago, Mexico changed their immigration laws to make it illegal for people to be stopped or arrested for being in their country in an undocumented status. So it's actually been easier for people who are undocumented to pass through Mexico for the last year, and it's a good sign that they are putting a little more presence on their southern border. That may deter certainly some people from crossing.
Charles, I'm going to backtrack a bit. Maybe you can help our international audience better understand why there are so many people in America. And granted, there are some people who are for this, but there's a lot of people opposed to undocumented workers coming into this country, specifically the southern border. Explain, if you can, in maybe 20 seconds, why this is a central issue in America.
This is a big issue for people because they see America as having a need for some workers to come in and do jobs in the service industry, but they realize that many Americans need or want those jobs. So there's a real dichotomy in our economy and in our society today between those who say we need these temporary workers to come in and those who say we shouldn't have any undocumented workers because Americans should be doing these jobs. It's really a problem in our society today about how we're going to move forward as a country through our immigration policy.
I grew up near an apple farm, and some of these pictures that you're seeing of people working into the fields, I mean, the vast majority of these workers are from Mexico or Latin America, and they're not documented. They're essentially illegal immigrants, but they're working here in the United States. And the number we threw out earlier, 11.5 million. And I think that's underestimating the number of folks here. So you can't just kick them out, because some would say, why don't you just kick all these people out of the country if they're not supposed to be here? That's not a realistic solution, and that's ultimately bad for the economy. Would you agree? I
absolutely agree. There's no way you can say people just leave the country now and we'll deal with that problem later. We like the way we eat. We like the way we have our vegetables. We like our fruit picked the right way. We like our chickens plucked. We like all this work done.
Because without them, you don't have the chicken. You don't have the, I mean, the economy needs these undocumented workers. I mean, it's a terrible way to describe it, but that's the best way I know how to explain to the folks who aren't familiar with this problem.
What we really need are people who are willing to do these jobs at livable wages. So if we had an immigration system that allowed temporary workers to come and go when they needed to see their families or bring their families in temporarily to the United States, we wouldn't have this problem. But the reason we have so many undocumented workers is because we don't have a legal immigration system that recognizes the need or the path to bring folks in to do these jobs on a regular basis.
I want to make sure we give some time to the human element of this, because it's not just about money. We've got kids coming through the southern border of Mexico who are risking their lives to make it past the northern border of Mexico, which is basically coming to the U.S. These kids may have a relative, perhaps a mother or a father, already into the United States. They're alone. They've got nothing, essentially, and they're stuck there on the border in this very strange political tug of war, if you will. What should we do with these children? I mean, should we just let them in? I mean, they're already halfway here, or do we kick them back out? Because either solution seems to displeasure a lot of people.
Most of these kids are fleeing either poverty, grinding poverty, or gang violence, or just criminal violence in the countries they're coming from. And a good chunk of them have parents or close relatives in the United States. For those that have relatives or family here, they should be reunited with those. And we should ensure that they come to whatever due process, constitutional hearings they have on their immigration claims. Most don't really have any legal right to be in the United States, but at the same time, we have to look at history a little bit. What would we have done, what did we do during World War II to turn away Jewish kids? What did we do during the Cold War to turn away people from Eastern Europe trying to bring their kids to a better life out of communism?
Charles, let me ask you this. What do you think the White House should do? What should America do with these children? I mean, that's what they are. They're children. These aren't adults that are just sneaking across the border. These are kids with essentially nothing.
We should exercise at least a slight bit of compassion. We should use our immigration system as it should be used, making sure we protect the constitutional rights of each of these children, ensure they have proper hearings and proper representation. And if they don't win their hearings, we should arrange for a fair and efficient removal from the United States. I mean, that's just the reality of our laws today.
Now, one area we did not explore is that there are gangs and there are groups, whether in south of Mexico or in these Central American countries, that are putting these kids on buses. Somebody's beginning the journey for these kids. Can the central governments there do something to stem that?
Well, the U.S. government has to have a bigger role in helping our friends in Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala to better control the criminal elements in their country. And until that culture of criminality that exists in those countries, much as a result of people who we have deported from the United States, so these MS-13 gang members, until we can help them control that, we will not stem the flow
Charles,
of these
I only
kids.
have time for one more question. Very quickly, is there a silver lining in this crisis? Is it possible we can actually get real immigration reform?
I think this puts a very pointed tip on why we need immigration reform today, because until we fix the immigration system for legal immigration, we will continue to see problems like this popping up all across our country.
Charles Kuck, thank you very much. Thank you for helping us better understand this very serious problem.